biggest step to get rid of inequality between men and women in our modern societies, to make women aware of the internalized sexism and sexist norms that exist, and make them able to change them, and make them able to behave in a way that changes them in the long term and go against this internalized sexism. I will first set up a model and then describe the problem and how we solve it. So, given that this is a this house would motion, we actually have a plan or a mechanism that we use. What we are saying overall, the state encourages this kind of behavior in several ways that I will lead up now. So the first thing is, for example, we assume that teachers in schools will encourage women to be the things that they want to be in the long term. We also think it's fine if we present the curriculum in a slightly biased way that primarily shows the bad side of patriarchy, and then encourage women to be more selfish with regards to this. We are fine funding image campaigns that would be making specifically targeted to women that say, do what you think is right and do what you think is best for you. We're also fine with having Angela Merkel say encouraging words to these women on national television. Give me a second. So the second thing I want to find out is within the model is that we are fine with also giving some sort of content and reasons as to why we think it's important for women to be selfish. I mean, this is obviously less possible in an image campaign, but we still think like some ideas as to whether why it's problematic, why we want to change it is fine. Lastly, thirdly, we also think it's fine that we drop this country specific. So I guess the image campaign would look different in Germany than in India. Lastly, I want to point out that it's not directly gender specific. We don't say be selfish if you whenever you are comparing yourself to a man, but we think that in the end this will something that, because we don't think we are allowed to prop this, but we think that this is something that is essentially a consequence of these campaigns, because in very many situations men compete against women, and they are more likely, and men are more likely to be in positions of power, where we think that most of these situations, in the end, most of these situations play down. Is it a clarification? Yes.
How is this any different from the status quo where lots of schools tell women you can be what you want to be, etc.? And will you have to have any?
We go further. We don't only say do what you want to be, but we actively encourage them to be selfish. Like in situations in which you are, if you have the choice to be either like to give someone else the job because of the internalized sexism, or to take it, even if it means something additional, then we're fine with saying take the job, even if it means not having a family, even if it means not being the woman that society wants you to be. Is it clear now? Okay, perfect. So the last thing I want to point out here is I think it reaches everyone, maybe to different degrees, but everyone within that society. Because most people go to school and they're in a formative state, therefore we think it's probably effective. Also, advertising campaigns are mostly statewide, therefore it's likely that most people view it at some point. So I think it doesn't only target a select group of individuals, but rather everyone. Okay, first big analysis. What is the problem? I think that sexist norms exist in our society that very often tell you as a woman to do something, that you are better with children and therefore shouldn't take the job as a scientist because men are better able to do them. Secondly, that women are better at doing, I don't know, like the kitchen or cleaning up, or really bad norms that many people at least implicitly hold, even though they don't explicitly state them. I think a good indicator, even though maybe most of us don't hold these norms, I think a good indicator for these things is the current political state of many Western countries, where very nationalist and conservative politics are on the rise, where you can see that many parts of society actually still hold very regressive norms, and therefore implicitly force women to not be able to achieve the things that they want to achieve. Lastly, one thing I want to point out very importantly in the problem analysis is that this is very often done in subtle ways. It's not explicit sexism that you just deny someone else, or a woman just thinks actively that they don't deserve the job, but rather that in many situations both people assume it. So for example, if the question is, does the man, if a couple gets children, then very often it's just assumed that the woman stays home and the man does go to work, and both people kind of assume it, and therefore they don't actually explicitly talk about it. Where we think if it's significantly more likely that if a woman is is actually more selfish, that I will call this out and say, let's talk about this first, and then at the point at which they talk about it, I think it's more likely that they would actually come to a reasonable conclusion. No, thank you. I'd also like a few items closing more. Okay, why does it work? So, there are 3 reasons why I think that it is likely to work specifically only through selfishness. The first is, I think very often there's just an information symmetry. That means men or privileged people in general don't know the struggles or don't know the problems that many women have faced throughout their lives. They don't know what it means to have grown up as a woman, to be always or to be treated in a specific way, and therefore they don't actually assume that it's necessary for the man or the privileged person to reach out to you. Therefore, it's important that the woman, who is very often in a lower position within the hierarchy, reaches out to them and say, I really want this promotion, I really want that job, because the information asymmetry exists. Second thing, it is very often just not discussed. As I already pointed out in the example of a couple getting children, and then it's just not discussed who stays home, but rather implicitly assumed to be true. I think, however, in many situations when you actually discuss about it, and the woman says, I really want to keep working, I really don't want to stay at home, then it's more likely that they will actually find an agreement and come to the agreement that the woman doesn't have to go. Because many people don't hold active sexist beliefs, but rather just implicit sexist beliefs, which need to be called out. This doesn't seem to work. Lastly, I think it also plays in the same thing. Like, internalized sexism very often just means that many people or many women themselves think they don't deserve it. Think of a job. Think of a situation in a job where it's likely that one of the people in the group will be promoted. However, many women think they do not deserve it, or because other people were speaking louder or speaking first or whatever. When they think that the other person, who's a man, because they've internalized the sexism to a certain degree, are better at the job and therefore do not apply. In such situations, we want the woman to just say, I want to have this particular role. I want to be promoted. I want to do better, and therefore get more paid. Just for the rest of the debate, you really need something to weigh down your case. Otherwise, you will have a problem.
I think this one's probably the bad one. I think the other ones are fine.
No, it's just.
Okay, let's do this experiment then.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I will get out there.
Okay, give your proposition.
How do I work the timers here? That's the one. At the top of this speech, I just want to be clear about what this debate is actually about. Because, unlike what the proposition thinks, it is not about informing women that they are equally qualified as other people. We can teach women on our side of the house that they are capable and that they aren't worse at being scientists just because of women. We're also comfortable with telling women that they can ask for promotions if they ever think that they deserve it. So what is this debate actually about? It's about when a woman's decision is at the expense of someone else, at the expense of her husband and her family, at the expense of a female co-worker who she chooses to aggressively try and push herself above. And we think that in these kinds of circumstances, it is immensely harmful. So we are comfortable with teaching women about all these things. We're comfortable with teaching men about sexism and about all the problems that currently exist. It's just that we're not happy with that trade-off that exists when a woman makes an individual decision. So, given that rebuts actually the vast majority of the OD speech, because honestly most problems they have talked about were not this motion, I want to get into 2 different constructive arguments. First of all, I want to talk about why this shames individual women, and for the women who choose to enter into the workforce and make these selfish decisions, they get worse lives as a consequence. And secondly, I want to talk about why this hurts collective action for women as a class and creates political backlash for every reason. So, to begin with, I want to talk about shame. I think it's very important to characterize what the world looks like. Because the notion of selfishness will affect women disproportionately, and only some women will be able to capitalize on this. What do I mean by this? I think that for the average white middle-class woman or white successful woman, they'll be able to access this norm very easily. But for a set of women, it's going to be very difficult to do so. For poor women who have massive family burdens and don't have the ability to afford childcare for their children. Women who are disadvantaged from social norms. So for instance, black women who might be called assertive or aggressive rather than selfish, and where that norm might be disproportionately used as a negative term for that individual when they choose to make those decisions, or just women who think that personally they want to have a family and that's something that they individually value on that basis. What this policy says to them is that their actions are not legitimate. I think this is the crucial thing that needs to be pointed out. Selfishness is a social construct. That's to say, the way in which we define selfishness is not just in the absolute or the broad sense of do whatever you want, but rather it is about fighting against the status quo. So in real life, what this policy is going to look like is telling women that they shouldn't be staying at home for their children, but instead going into the workforce. Because that's the only way in which it can send a strong enough message to just broadly say, be who you are and do what you want, is both similar to the status quo, but also remarkably vague and unhelpful for the vast majority of women, and isn't going to the message that is actually important. But why is that so detrimental in this debate? Because I think it goes against the tenets of choice feminism. It tells individual women that the choices that they make, the decisions that they think are best for them, are not ones that they should be making, and that they ought to feel ashamed for not being a proper feminist or not being a proper woman in making these sorts of decisions. I think that is a massive harm that accrues to the vast majority of women who aren't able to access the bastions of power, who aren't going to be able to use selfishness because it'll be used derogatorily against them, and even when they use selfishness, they'll never be able to reach the top of the corporate ladder precisely because of the intersectional problems that we've identified. But then, what happens to the women who actually opt in as a consequence of this policy? Because if you find that the shame is so large, I think some women will choose to opt in even when it's bad for them. The first thing that I want to point out is that success, or the conventional notions of success and selfishness, aren't really that healthy. The reason why male suicide is so high is because men typically tend to focus on their personal career rather than the social networks that they create, no thank you, and the ability for them to create fruitful and meaningful relationships with other people. So I just don't think that you can actually get that benefit in this world. It's also important to know that you can't just opt in and opt out. After you've already had a messy divorce with your husband because of your selfish decision, that means that you can't get those benefits back, and you can't just walk back in the state that you were in before. So that fundamental information asymmetry means that you make a bad choice, and that bad choice can't be reversed. Another thing that I want to observe, and just finally, I think broadly speaking, most women count in the patriarchy. I think this has been implicit, but I just want to be clear. The vast majority of employers will view selfishness as not being a team player, and use that as an excuse not to employ you, or not to give you promotions, or not to make you a manager. And when this becomes a widespread norm that many women buy into, and that many women act on, that becomes a broader brush that is used on women, and for the vast majority of women, that's massively harmful. Why should you weigh this argument incredibly highly in this debate? The first thing I want to point out is that we are worse for probably most individual women and for the most disprivileged individual women. The second thing that I want to point out is that the shame that this creates and the bad decisions and the ramifications means that women won't buy in politically into feminism. It becomes a lot harder to actually identify with feminism when it's something that made you make a bad decision in your own life. Second claim, why does this collective action? Yeah, Rob.
So selfishness is doing what you want. Surely you don't care about what's best for the feminist movement, which means that on our side you are more likely to stay at home with the kids because it's what you want to do at the expense of the general feminist movement as a whole.
Now I'm going to flip this claim, because the important thing to note is that when you're a selfish woman, that also means that you can hurt the feminist movement as well. Consider this, Sheryl Sandberg, who treats all of her female employees like absolute crap and pays them very little. The important thing that I think is crucial in the second argument is that social movements need solidarity, and crucially, a willingness to sacrifice for something greater than yourself. But the harm that comes from proposition is that you break that solidarity. Women perceive themselves as atomistic units who are more important than broader movements or broader groups of individuals. And so I think the first thing that I want to note is that your personal investment into the movement becomes significantly lower. Why would you choose to advocate for the legalization of abortion if it was the case that you yourself can just fly to another country or fly to another state and get that abortion? Why would you advocate for a minimum wage law or anti-discrimination for women the moment in which you are a woman who is successful and never have to face that discrimination at the highest echelons because you are a CEO? Crucially, I think this is more important to the claim that they're going to try and bring up. Because when you choose to go become a child bearer or a child carer, that is perhaps not optimal. It doesn't advance the feminist movement. But our claim is that you actively push the feminist movement back the moment in which you destroy the solidarity. So on the margins, this harm is more important. The other thing that I want to note is, yes, again, women treat other women worse. Just in employment, just in their day-to-day lives, women are more likely to be cutthroat with one another, are more likely to view their personal gains that come from higher profits in their company, or from the treatment of subordinates as a manager, as justified the moment that they believe that this is something which is fine, primarily because of the fact that selfishness has been reaffirmed. The final thing that I want to note in this speech is that I think this just revalidates the concerns of men and MRAs. And clearly we don't actually care about MRAs. But the harm that comes is that when the state seems to be endorsing a feminist message, which explicitly feeds into the propaganda of MRAs who say that women are already selfish, that they're always going for the chads, whatever, that means that you're more likely to get moderates within Canada, or within the state in general, believing that women are illegitimate or that women are making decisions that hurt them and hurt other men around them. I think it's crucial to note in this debate that means that you're probably going to get rollbacks on a lot of things, like take away maternity leave to try and counter the very fact that women are entering the workforce selfishly. You're going to actually try and fight that social force as a political movement. The key takeaway is that women can never win on the metric that men set out, of being selfish. The core thing is that we must reform society and change it, not play into the sexist stereotypes that will just simply reaffirm disadvantages. Counter opposed.
Let's clear up some stuff on what selfishness actually means, do a lot of rebuttal, and then I'll go into why this specifically, like the lack of female ambition, boldness, and assertiveness is one of the core roadblocks for the feminist movement currently, and how we change this on our side, and how this creates more legislative success and change in the future. So first, what OO tell us is that what we're standing for isn't actually selfishness really, but mostly information. And I think here they misunderstand what Marius told them in OG crucially. What we're saying is that we will inform women of how the patriarchy works. We will inform them of how it has systematically undermined them, like for centuries, but crucially that is always followed up by an emotionally valuable and effective call of action to say you have the right, and in some ways even the duty to counteract that historic injustice and to also like take back what in many ways has been owed to womankind for so many years. And we think this is important. Like the reason why they don't get to say information is enough for creating parity is that they need to explain how simple information that we've had for all this time counteracts all the very subtle sexist messaging and internalized sexism that women learn throughout all of the interactions that they have with their peers, with their institutions, through every single formative moment of growing up, when you can't yet currently question all the things that happen, and when in many subtle ways your perception of what it means to be a woman, and what it means to be a man, or anything else is shaped. So as a result, what we're saying is you need a strong emotional characteristic and a call to action to actually bring women to overcome the sexist programming and to overcome all of the years of internalized shame that have like led them to take themselves back in situations, to not assert themselves, to not put themselves forward. So this is why they don't get to say, oh, like we can also encourage women to just like apply for the job they want to. They can, but they're far less effective at it. Because like you do need to give them a clear reason for why the sexist messaging is wrong. You need to give them a strong, normatively evaluable reason. We give them in the form of historic justice and a right to be selfish, which they can't. Okay, cool. Secondly, what they tell us is this norm will have, no thank you, will have asymmetric access, as in like, oh, white middle-class women will be able to access it, but this won't be the fact for like poor or black women. Now, like we haven't heard any analysis on this, and I'm quite unclear why that is the case. Like even if you're from a like lesser socioeconomic background, you can still rebel in smaller ways. Like sure, you might not become a CEO of Facebook, but relative to your baseline perception and to your like baseline assertiveness and to your baseline boldness, you can still make a lot of different ways. Like even if like I can't get my own job, I can still go up to my husband and say like when we're having sex, you're going to treat me equally, like you owe me an orgasm, to the same extent. Or I'm going to say, like, I perform a lot of emotional labor as a wife that is invisible in most relationships because toxic masculinity tells men to hide their emotions and forces the burden to manage them onto women. We think there's a lot of smaller ways in which you can actually change your surroundings, even if it doesn't happen like in a massive way. Secondly, especially black women, especially women that currently suffer from stereotypes of being too assertive, will profit from the fact that we change social norms around how acceptable it is for women to be assertive, to the extent that now a far wider range of women are assertive. Then it is far easier for a black woman to say, I am just like every other woman. This is completely justified behavior. They will now feel gratified for all the years in which they were unjustly called assertive, because now they have a reason to say, no, this was right all along. The rest of womanhood is catching up. I'll take one from closing now.
Yeah, but we can also give women a compelling reason, that's fine. That reason is, your life will be better. Why must the reason be related to other people doing worse?
Okay, so to the extent to which that reason is effective, it just hasn't worked very well so far, and it still has hampered women's progress in many ways. So we don't think that if you want to have more progress, you can recur to reasons that have been around for a long time. Also, secondly, again, I think reason isn't enough. You need emotionally evaluable content that actually acts in a motivating way. And like we see in so many different ways that reason is an insufficient motivator for most human beings, which includes women as a category. Okay, cool. Two more pieces of rebuttal. This idea that employers will use selfishness as a bad asset and therefore like not put women forward as promotion. I think this misses the point where we don't consider that if women en masse act in more assertive ways, this necessarily changes societal perception of women, of what women are and what women are supposed to be. In the sense that like there isn't some magical patriarchy which clearly decides in a top-down process what the role of women ought to be. The perception of women, the role of women is constructed in bottom-up social processes where the behavior of women shapes what it means to be a woman. And if more women act in different ways, this will also color men's perception of what women are allowed to do and what women are likely to do. So in many ways, we think this will make it more accepted that if women act assertive, then that happens. Okay, lastly on this idea of like the solidarity between women, both in terms of the feminist movement and in the workplace. We think that it is unlikely that women will be selfish towards women at the same rate that they will be selfish towards men. No, thank you. Two reasons for that. First, we think women still share a lot of shared experiences of suffering from like male aggression and from a sexist society that will like empathize them towards the suffering of other women. So to the extent to which they have a choice between being selfish towards a man and a woman, they will choose to be selfish towards a man. But secondly, we also think that women have a strategic interest in the feminist movement being a strong player in the long term, even if it doesn't advocate for their specific interests in each individual instance, because it's quite likely that as a woman, like most of the things that the feminist movement cares about are things that you also care about, even if it doesn't happen in each instance. So we think it is still rational for women to support it. We think women have a lot of reasons to still support women over men and to be disproportionately selfish towards men. Lastly, we think that women's progress is specifically inhibited by a lack of female ambition and boldness. This is because in most like Western societies, we don't have good actual arguments for oppressing women. We mostly do it by a proxy, by saying that, oh, like women just don't put themselves forward to positions, that women don't push like actively to put like women's health issues on the political agenda higher than other issues, and that women ultimately like don't express specific interests. And if all these reasons fall away, because women are now bolder in pushing for these changes, we don't think there's actually good arguments to oppose them. And to the extent that we're all like not horribly sexist people, but mostly influenced by subtle norms that can be chipped away with reason, we lay that reason bare, and we make the experience of being a woman more bearable and create more long-term change. Proud to propose.
two very simple claims from opening opposition. The first is that this policy is likely to destroy much progress aimed at getting collective solutions for female problems. Things like guaranteed maternity leave, things like laws against sexual harassment. And the second claim that you make is that on a personal level, this is terrible for women, that it encourages self-loathing, thank you very much, and will lead to many women being pushed out. A very unselfish act from the leader of opposition. I'm going to do two things in this speech. Firstly, I'm going to engage a number of points with rebuttal and rebuilding. Secondly, in terms of substantive extension, I'm going to talk more about the male response, why this is likely to worsen sexism, but at an extreme and a sort of moderate sexist level. Let's jump straight into it. Firstly, no limited response to Jason's sort of counterpart about what we can do beyond teaching women about to be selfish. So, to be clear, we are happy to talk about the history of sexism. I think you can be taught about the history of sexism and not be encouraged to be sexist. We are happy to push on a social level for things like shared paternity leave on a use it or lose it basis to encourage men to play a greater role in housework. We are happy, as Jason and the POIs from closing opposition suggest, to tell women that you have equal value. We are happy to stand behind campaigns like Ban Bossy, saying you shouldn't call girls bossy for putting themselves forward. None of those campaigns, incidentally, encourage women to be selfish. It's not be selfish, it's don't feel ashamed for valuing yourself, for wanting a better life. Second point of rebuttal. We have to claim that misogyny is often subtle. So, for instance, that leads to an assumption that women are going to be the ones who look after children and that this motion will correct it. Look, on a personal level, my mother returned to work 2 weeks after giving birth to me. Now, I don't think that was a selfish act. I think that was a deeply altruistic act, done for the good of herself, yes, but also for her wider family. I think the problem with this motion is precisely what the PM said. This is likely to reframe many acts women do, for instance, returning to work more quickly. For instance, deciding I'm the person who earns more within the household, therefore I should return to work. It reframes them away from being a decision which you do as a family to being a decision which is about pure selfishness. I think this also applies to claims from the DPM about interpersonal relationships, things like demanding more from your husband. I think a far better way to discuss this is to frame it in terms of equity and decency and respect. The problem with when these things are framed as selfish is twofold. One, it encourages men to regard this as a sort of zero-sum game. Right? My partner is asking me for this, not because I ought to do this, but rather because she's putting herself first over me. Secondly, and this is particularly true for mothers who return to work, I think there are two impacts. One, there is likely to be greater stigma against working mothers because these mothers are likely to be framed as selfish. No, it's easier to constitute an act as being selfish than to constitute selfishness itself as being good. So what that means is that many people will continue to regard selfishness as a negative thing and instead just go, that mother who returned to work is selfish, she's a bad mother who is putting herself over the needs of a child. And giving people will probably still have a lot of empathy towards children, that's hugely negative. But secondly, and this feeds into the second part of our case, it encourages a sense of individual self-loathing amongst women who do return to work. That it's not a legitimate decision, but rather it is an act of selfishness. Final bit of rebuttal is the claim that we get from the DPM that the problem is that many women have internalised misogyny. I agree, but I want to note that many ambitious and selfish women also have a lot of internalised misogyny. So, for instance, Margaret Thatcher was definitely willing to be selfish and put herself forward. The problem was that she also had those misogynistic views. She regarded other women as being lesser than her because they didn't show the same degree of drive. Two problems with this. One is on an individual level. You are likely, on a selfish basis, to decide it is easier for me to criticise other women to the men who are around me, right? So that revolves around going, it is in my interest to say, there's no problem with the culture in this workplace, it's just other women lack the drive, lack the ambition. The comparative is women are more likely to push for things like collective change. But secondly, it leads to an overly individualised view of feminism. It leads to a situation in which having a single woman in a position of authority is often used as a means of deflecting calls for wider social change. For instance, focus on the fact that the new British Home Secretary, Priti Patel, is female. There's far more focus on that as a triumph for feminism than there is about the fact that she is overseeing cuts to rape crisis centres, which affect the most vulnerable women in this debate. What else does Jason tell you? Firstly, he claims many women are going to be either unable to achieve this desire to be selfish, or are going to be stigmatised for it. Response from DPM is to say, no, because now black women can say it's okay to be assertive. I think this doesn't ring true, right? It's acceptable for men to be selfish, but black men are more likely to be perceived as pushy. I think the exact same thing is likely to happen with black women, and crucially, you exacerbate a lot of very racist stereotypes that say the reason black women are in poverty, it's not anything institutional, it's that they lack the drive, and particularly affected are going to be white wealthy feminists who currently believe and are increasingly believing in intersectionality. They're now going to regard black women as simply lacking drive. Go, John.
Your second claim is that women don't act in accordance to the feminist movement. Why doesn't this mean that they can do whatever they want without being shamed by it?
Sorry, can you read?
Yeah, so your second argument says that women won't act in accordance to the feminist movement. If this is true, then why do women get shamed for doing what they want to do? Why do they get shamed for staying at home?
Precisely as Jason told you, that there is now pressure on them to push themselves forward. There's likely that selfishness is an inherently bad thing. It encourages fundamentally a lack of contentment. It says the way in which I can be happier is to screw over Jason rather than to work together as part of a collective. Finally, I'm going to talk about the response from men. One, this is likely to exacerbate the worst elements of NRA culture, namely that women are selfish and only interested in yourself. This is a small minority of men, but they can be incredibly violent. This is a significant harm, even if one extra violent attack results as a result of the media coverage around this. I think it's a significant problem. But secondly, more broadly, it legitimises other harmful behaviour by men. Because instead of telling men you shouldn't be selfish in terms of your acts, in terms of not looking after your children, not contributing to work at home, it says, well, everyone does it, so why does it matter? And given women are always likely to get the raw end of the deal in the patriarchy, because this destroys collective action, we are very proud to oppose.
I have my own.
Let's try and
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. My brain is like so.
Again, unselfish. You can keep it if you want.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay.
Three things in this extension. Firstly, more on why we think that this changes the way that men treat women. We think that OG take a stab at this, but I think that one of the main claims from Op is that some women will be left out of this motion and unable to fulfill it. And I think that if we prove that this changes the way that men conceive even women who don't follow this policy, then I think that's a huge impact. Secondly, I'm just going to give some framing on why we think that this is the only solution in a way that is structured by men for men. And next I'm going to talk about feminism, why we think we get back to like feminist / good for women policies, and also why we think this advances like black and minority women feminism. All responses will be interwoven, but I just have to respond to one thing that Kit said at the end of the speech. Because he tries to imply that if one more woman gets attacked as a result of this, that's something we should weigh extremely heavily in the debate. Obviously, yes, but I think we are existing in a world where women are getting attacked on a daily basis, and I think oftentimes the reason that women get attacked is because they are perceived to be docile, and if you're some sad MRA who isn't able to exert his power in any other context, you see a woman looking scared, walking by herself, and so you think it's cool to run after her and harass her and stuff like that. I'm not sure whether their interpretation of the motion is correct. I'm not sure if their interpretation of the attack point is correct, because I think it's far more likely that the vast majority of women won't commit an attack unless they think they can win. But I think at the very least it's a wash, because I think even if more women get attacked as a result of being selfish, I think far more women will be helped as a result of not feeling docile. I don't want that to be an issue in the debate for the rest of this. Firstly, why do we think this changes the way that men treat women? Note that most men are not misogynist and agree with gender equality. On paper, men think that that is a thing which they agree with, and it's not a thing which they have a hand in perpetuating, right? And so I think that when gender equality does happen, these men don't have an incentive to self-correct and change their behaviour. One, because you assume it's an individual character trait of that woman, or that women are generally more caring. Like, I think that is something which my mom, who is a feminist, would say. Like, actually just take it as a given that women are biologically built to be more caring. And so if you're a man, you have no incentive to ever change your behaviour and be more allowing of women, because you think, one, you're a feminist, but you think that the major battles have been won and that this isn't an issue that pertains to you. I think a large part of the way, therefore, that men and humans react to each other, and women in particular, is instinctive. Like, I don't think you calculate every single way that you treat a woman necessarily. I think that a lot of the time it's instinctual. Like, if a man sees a woman approaching a door, I think it's instinctive in that second that he's going to be the one to pass through that door and not her, because of these like inbuilt biases where he sees women being docile, but he doesn't think that that's an issue of sexism. He thinks it's just a thing that women do, or that individual woman does. This is also true of a bunch of other examples, like speaking over women in meetings and stuff like that. That's why I think the opening of a system solution doesn't work, because you can set a bunch of men down in a room and tell them that sexism is a thing, but if you always attribute it to that woman in particular or to other men, then I don't think that you have an incentive to change your behaviour. You might even want to change your behaviour if you're called out on it, but that's not something that you're going to instinctively do, because men don't think that they're the problem. How does this change? I think that this gives men a wake-up call, right? Because if this motion works, which I think it will, you are going to see examples of women standing up to you. You're going to approach a woman going through a door, and she's going to be the one to go through that door instead of you. And then I think that the instinctive biases and the instinctive way that you treat women the next time you go through the door and the time after that then changes. I think that creates a world where men are more likely to see women as a class as not docile and people who are at least prepared to stand up for themselves. Opening opposition make the contention that being selfish means being mean. No, I think in some contexts it can, but technically if I were to walk out the door before John, it's a selfish choice, but I don't think it's one that I should be pilloried for. But I think the world is better where men expect there will be parity in the way that women behave, right? And so I think that when you see examples of women standing up to you, you get used to the idea that you shouldn't walk all over women as a class. This is important because I think that women have less need to be selfish and to do the kind of bad selfishness that opening opposition wants to talk about if men treat them better. I think if we exist in a world where it is the norm for men not to speak over women in meetings, then men will do something like everybody has to raise their hand, and then you get a world where speaking over each other isn't the norm, and selfishism isn't a metric that we even have to think about as much. This is important, but also though, because OG say that individual couples will be more likely to have the kids chat, because the woman will come to the man and say, hey, I think it's unfair to assume that I'm going to take time off and look after the kids. We see that chat will be less important, or that it will happen as it mutually, or it will be assumed that chat will happen. I also think that there will be less things like microaggressions, which I described. I think you approach the chat as given, and I think that more women will be able to advance in their jobs and politics because men are less dismissive. I think this is important because it means that women who can't fully enact this policy and don't have it in them to be really selfish get their lives changed on a day-to-day way, because if men assume women as a class are going to be selfish, then even the women who don't want to be selfish are treated better, because we change perception, right? That's the only way the discussion that Kit wants the couple to have can be viewed as one of equity, whereas if women always have to ask, they're on the back foot. Go for it, Darren.
Opening government said that men hold implicitly sexist but nonetheless defeasible beliefs about women. Why is it the responsibility of women to break down those beliefs as opposed to the broader program of social education?
Right, so it's not their responsibility, but I do think we exist in a world which is made by men, structured for men, and so I think that if selfishness is the mechanism which we use to change that, then it's not about responsibility, it's just kind of like, should we do this, will it work, probably yes. Yeah, why is this the only solution? Firstly, the world just benefits men, and so I think if they have an option to be selfish towards women and get what they want, they will take that. I don't think that backlash matters unless opening opposition proves that the men will be turned off at the tipping point where you get maternity leave. But secondly, we think that men benefit from their wives and daughters staying at home to look after them and stuff, and I think this motion is critical, therefore, in societies where the law has caught up to gender equality, but attitudes have not, and things like social shaming exist, which makes women think that even though the law guarantees them things like maternity leave, they're not going to take it. Women have to be the actors that fight in a world where it is economically and politically advantageous for men not to do this. Lastly, on the feminist movement, why we get better policies, most women want ease and convenience. I am not a rich woman, I'm middle class, but it's much more efficient for me if there is a policy where you can get abortion, because that means I don't have to shell out loads, even if I can afford it. Most women are not rich. This means that the median woman in a world where she's taught to be selfish is going to say, I want rich women, and I want rich people to pay for my abortion coverage because I am now selfish and I demand that. On either side of the house, Sheryl Sandberg is going to be selfish. I think we empower working class women who don't have those kinds of resources to be selfish and say, this is what I want. Lastly, on minority women, white feminism is used as a weapon against women of colour. If a white woman gets offered a job, the black woman is told not to moan because at least it's a win for the sisterhood, right? I think feminism gets better when that black woman thinks that she can be selfish and say, actually, Taylor Swift, I don't give a shit that you were nominated for a Grammy, because my status as a black woman matters as well. I think calling out feminists works, as O say, because they care about being woke, but you have to tell black women that they can be selfish and stand against Taylor Swift. I think that they need feminists to solve a lot of the issues that they face in the world, like how it's bad for women to be seen as sassy, black women to be seen as sassy. I think if they improve the feminist movement, then there's less need for black women to say, hey, it's okay to be aggressive, because you can shame white women as cooperating.
The crux of CG's extension is this. They say women will stand up more for themselves, and as a result, men will treat them better. I think the inherent problem with this is the assumption that just by women standing up for themselves, that is the behavior that is going to cause men and cause this entire patriarchal system to shift around the kind of structures that women face and the kind of structural barriers that women face today. I think what's particularly perverse about that kind of narrative is that it puts the entire onus of the failure to fight against these patriarchal structures on the individual woman and her choices and her inability to be assertive enough, to be confident enough to actually stand up to these sorts of systems. 3 things in extension today. First, I'm going to tell you about how this affects communities that are more conservative or in the developing world, and why this is actually worse for the feminist movement there. Secondly, how this frames any improvement for women as a mutually exclusive game with male improvement and male success. And finally, about how this is perceived among women that don't necessarily buy into this initiative at the very first place. I'll revolve this for this. So, let's first talk about how this message is alienating both women and men in communities that aren't necessarily like these nice Western liberal democracies that we think government primarily wants to talk about. Right? This is specifically a narrative that prioritizes the individual at the expense of other groups, at the expense of your family, at the expense of your community, etc. The message of feminism is far harder to sell in these places where you don't have the idea of this kind of individualism is an incredibly westernized idea, and there are communities that tend to have other values as well. And these are the places in which we think that the feminist movement has the greatest amount of good that it can do, given that these are the ones that tend not to respect individual choices to that same extent or to the extent that we would like them to have. So what happens is that this message is then seen as something that is pursued out of selfishness rather than a genuine concern over these structural issues faced by women in these communities. So let's look at how these communities react. I think there are 2 things that are important. First of all, you just get a broad scapegoating of what the feminist movement is, given that these tend to be from, these messages tend to be propagated in schools, but also by relatively well-known mainstream public figures. It means that you just don't get the same amount of traction and acceptance in the first place, given that it's something that is so antithetical to inherent to community values. And secondly, it just becomes unpopular or unfeasible for anyone in a position of power to support these sorts of messages. But secondly, note that these messages, as open government models mainly come from schools or from mainstream figures. It's like people like, Angela Merkel saying, oh, women should be more selfish in the workplace, they should ask for that raise, they should overemphasize their contribution in a team. I think what happens is that, number one, at the point at which the community is already fairly unreceptive to that really westernized message of women should be pursuing their individual self-interest above all else, you get demonization of these institutions that tend to prop up those sorts of messages in the first place. This looks like, for instance, like preventing your kids from accessing the liberal schools that exist in your area that are likely to propagate these sorts of messages, or preventing them from accessing any sort of public discourse that would support this kind of messaging. So why do we think it does get better on our side, right? It's because the way to get acceptance, any sort of acceptance around this kind of messaging, is that you have to demonstrate that there is some level of compatibility between feminism and other community values that already predate that. This looks like, for instance, like you say things like workplace discrimination or harassment strips women of dignity, strips women of the dignity that your community says they deserve, rather than going straight to the idea that women should be selfish at the expense of their own family, right? What happens is that then perceived as a movement that men specifically have to lose out against, because the message is that you would try and get a certain promotion at the expense of your fellow male coworkers. The significance of this is that then these are the communities and these are the parts of the world in which we think women face the greatest violence and also the greatest barriers to accessing, for instance, a better life. At the point at which you not only make men less receptive to this message, but also women feel as though they cannot access it because it is so antithetical to a lot of their values. It means that it's far harder for these women to actually band together and get some sort of structural changes within these areas. But secondly, why is it so bad to then frame this as frame any improvement for women as something that men have to lose out against? Because that's essentially what their policy does, right? It's things like promoting women at the expense of men, or giving the woman in your team a raise rather than the male coworkers. It looks like this doesn't just happen in the workplace, but it also has to do with how you interact with your partner at home, right? For instance, you frame women asking for more time, more free time, or for instance, asking for the man to take a greater share of the child caring work, asking that an inherently selfish decision rather than one that is egalitarian. We think that many social policies and behaviors are good for both men and women, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive. What you do by this policy is you tell women that they should be advocating it in a way that seems to propagate their own self-interest, right? We think, for instance, legislation against rape culture also helps male victims of sexual violence, and this is something that achieves broader social support than what you can get on their side. But on their side, you also just reframe policy on being about promoting women at the expense of men, because that's specifically what you ask women themselves to do. Lots of people already believe this is what feminism is about, so this actually cuts against everything the feminist movement is trying to achieve in that arena. Before I move on, anything from opening?
Okay, look. Our model of employing this in schools means that we similarly reach young men at a time where they don't yet have a lot of internalized sexist beliefs. Therefore, you get large male buy-in to this motion instead of a lot of backlash.
The problem is that those sort of ingrained cultural beliefs don't start the moment that you enter school. It's something that you grew up around from a very young age. When you see, for instance, your dad going out to work and your mom doing all the housework at home. So, how is this actually going to be perceived by women, and why is it particularly bad to create a sort of toxic empowerment that you get on their side? Because Gov wants to claim that it's empowering to fight against the patriarchy by making selfish choices. The problem is, things like the wage gap, like the lack of parental leave, but sexual harassment aren't the fault of an individual woman not being assertive enough or not being confident enough, but the real causes are things like discriminatory legislation or the lack thereof, and also a culture of toxic masculinity that says that means that men have to have certain expectations for how women should act. This narrative doesn't meaningfully help a lot of women because individually selfish actions are framed as self-interested ones, not as part of a coherent practice of collective action. It looks like prioritizing your individual professional success over the well-being of your family is an action that is taken in isolation rather than as part of a broader social movement. The improvements, therefore, are just inaccessible to many people who happen to be people of color as well. The harm, then, is that this is not just a narrative of enlightened self-interest, but it's about a trade-off and a prioritization above and beyond other people. It means that women who aren't able to access improvements have the brunt of that structural failure then placed on them because it is seen as a personal defect. And, you say things like, oh, that other woman became really successful, why can't you? The harm of this is that, number one, you just make individual women that aren't able to access these meaningful improvements feel terrible about the choices that they have made, and they internalize this kind of failure. It also means that they're far less receptive to similar messaging in the future at the point at which they seem unable to access it. But secondly, it also affects the way that other women perceive you as well, as someone who is not worthy of helping in the first place because you were too helpless or too inept to actually get yourself out of that situation. Puts the onus of failure on you and you alone, and the lack of progress for people like women of color is seen as something that is entirely their fault. The Equality Policy Panel puts that individual failure and shame on you above all else. Very proud to oppose.
I'm going to cross my fingers. Boom. Sorry, one sec. Alright, cool. Never mind. Let's start. Cool. Well, I think it's ironic for closing opposition to tell us that we're placing the onus on women to fix men's problems when they're literally willing to use women in the developing world as battering rams, telling them they have to sit down and face the oppression, because in 30 and 40 years, that's what's going to make the feminist movement more palatable to men. Note that they're the ones putting the onus on women and the responsibility on women to fix the problems that men have created. Why? Because they're making them suffer under it until men decide to give women these rights. I don't think that is a reasonable thing to say, and I don't think that is a world we want to live in. If their metric is putting the onus on women, surely they lose on that front. Look, I'm not going to pretend this speech is structured into clashes. I'm just going to go through team by team and explain to you why we beat each one. I couldn't categorize it into two different things because it's all one big ass clash. Let's then start by taking out the extension that we get from closing opposition, explaining why, even if it's true, our argument's way above theirs. Their main extension is essentially starts with the idea of conservative communities and how women are demonized in that sense. A few responses. One, note that this is the lowest impact area they could go for. Why? Because if the areas are as bad as they say, presumably women are fucked on either side of the house, right? We want to focus on worlds where we can make women's lives significantly better. I don't think that in the kind of communities that demonize this kind of thing, that says women don't deserve to do X and Y, are the kind of communities that we actually care about, right? Because these are the kinds of communities where you're not really going to get much change on either side of the house. They're a wash, right? So even if this argument is true, Martha's stuff is just far more impactful, given that she explains why it is that men's behavior changes in general, and this could also apply to the developing world. We just might be talking about less people in that case, or more conservative societies. I still think that the big change that we get in countries that are more liberal and will accept this kind of thing just far outweighs the marginal change that they might get, given that these communities are so toxic in the first place. Two, it's a bit extreme, right? Because their mechanism is literally that you're going to see that schools are telling you that women should be selfish, and as a result, you're going to demonize these schools and send your kids elsewhere. This is cool in debate language, but I just want to stop and ask everyone to take a step back and consider what this means. Parents think about a lot of things when they're thinking about schools, curriculum, how close it is to my house, how convenient it is on the school run. I don't know why this is the big, massive thing that is going to change everything and make you stop exposing your kids to liberal ideas, right? A lot of people don't really care what their kids are taught in school anyway, right? Like, my parents don't really know the kinds of values that my school pushed down on me. I don't think that the majority of parents are that involved and that political that they would remove their children from the school in order to get the kind of change that they're talking about. The third thing, though, is that people often like the culture that they're in, right? If a woman wants to do, for example, stay at home, if a woman wants to look after the children, I don't understand why that's not a legitimate choice. But this is a problem on all of God's bench, right? Because to a large extent, they assume that being selfish means going to work, that being selfish means not doing something that women haven't so far done. Note that being selfish means prioritizing yourself above others. It means doing things that you want to do, going about your life the way that you want to go about your life. So if you want to stay at home with the kids, you can fucking do it, right? That is what being selfish is. And note that this is especially when you don't think that you are betraying the rest of the feminist movement. This is the problem with opening opposition's argument, right? I'm going to bring OO into here pretty briefly. But this is when you don't feel like you're betraying the feminist movement, right? When you're doing what you want to do and you don't care about what this means for broader feminism, right? For some women, staying at home is what they want to fucking do. And it doesn't matter how this signals the feminist movement. All they care about is them and what they want. As a result, I don't think the extension of closing opposition matters to the same extent because I don't think they recognize that in these cultures it is quite legitimate to make these choices for yourself. The final response to their extension is just that, like, women generally have a non-selfish culture pushed down on them. They are told that, like, they should be doing things to help men in these conservative cultures. So ultimately, I don't understand why we should be giving them the option instead of them to reclaim what is theirs. Cool. I'm going to respond to their perceptions thing while I'm dealing with OO, and I'm going to flag that up because I think a lot of the stuff overlaps and is quite similar. I think CO make it a bit better than OO, but I think OO make it as well. So let's move on then to OO and talk about their stuff. I'm just going to start by talking about this argument about shaming individual women. I'm going to flag up something I said before, which is the question of why is selfishness necessarily doing something that isn't already, why is selfishness necessarily going to work, right? The thing that they give is that this is what hasn't been done before and this is what is good for the feminist movement in general. That is the claim that Jason makes in his argument, right? And I've asked this twice in FPOI and haven't really given a response. I think the really important thing to note here is that women will not get shamed because women will not necessarily go to work and make choices wrong for them because it's up to them what they want to do. So I don't understand why the shame is in any way impactful if women are doing what they want to do. Why is this important? It's important because their entire argument is built off of an assumption that women are going to do X thing without explaining why that is what selfishness is and that's how it works. But the second thing is that they don't explain why women are going to do this badly because their central claim is, women are going to be seen as non-team players in the office. Panel, note that there is a difference in selfishness. You can act like a team player in order to achieve your end selfish goal of getting a promotion. You can pretend to not be selfish, you can pretend to be good because that is going to achieve your end goal of success. Being selfish means having a goal and prioritizing that above everyone else. That might mean acting like you like someone that you don't like. That might mean saying shit behind a coworker's back that you think will get you ahead. That might mean telling on your coworker to your boss and having them looked down upon by your boss, right? Selfishness can take many different forms. I don't get why if men can do it that well, women can't either. But the last thing even if this is true, I think what Martha brings to you is really, really important, and I think it beats it, right? Because Martha explains to you why on the individual level, why perceptions change. I think there are a lot of good reasons as to why there is no incentive for men right now to change their behavior. Martha gives you a lot of these, and Seyung doesn't respond to any of them. I'm sure Darian has a few good responses, but I think that all whip is a bit too late to bring them. You can still bring them, but like, Seyung should have said something about this, right? The second thing to say, though, is that Martha explained to you why it is that a lot of men don't feel like they're sexist, right? The majority of men don't like to think of themselves as sexist. They just think that it is natural that women are more docile, women are weaker, women are worse athletes, and so on and so forth. They should be submissive, they should be subverted. What we tell you is that this is a wake-up call. The reason they won't have backlash is because the majority of men won't think that they are sexist and won't want to be perceived as sexist. Before I tell you the impacts of this, go ahead, Jason.
It's not selfish for a black woman to demand equal treatment, but it is selfish for white women to say, screw racism or diversity, I'm doing fine, we'll take this job, and abandon efforts to either improve the workplace or society.
Very quickly, my response to this argument, being selfish doesn't mean being a dick. I think a lot of people are selfish, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they only care about themselves. The question is, when does myself come in contrast with someone else? I don't know why supporting an abortion law is negative for a selfish woman, right? It doesn't seem to me, and they never prove to me, why women are going to be actively evil and vindictive against other women. That is why even parties like the Conservative Party, for example, go on policies that they perceive that they say will help poor people. Because a lot of people might be selfish, not everyone is a dick. They never prove to us the extreme idea of women just shoving everyone else to the wayside, because I just don't think that's how human beings behave, and that's not what they are. But even if women are completely selfish, panel, I just don't see that why the fear that this might happen to you doesn't mean that you selfishly react, right? Because a lot of the stuff they said was anti-discrimination laws, maternal leave, things that affect all women. I don't see why the fear of you having to do X thing doesn't make you selfishly campaign for it. But Martha explicitly tells you why it is that small behaviors of women will change, right? Why it is that women becoming more assertive in general might mean that all women, regardless of whether or not they become assertive or not, will be perceived differently by men. Why this means less catcalling in the streets, less microaggressions, less thinking that
So many debates about feminism are incredibly Anglocentric, despite the fact that women in the developing world suffer by far the worst violence on the greatest scale. I want to look at two things in this speech. Firstly, how this message will be received in not the most extraordinarily terrible circumstances where there is no delta, but in the wide number of scenarios where there is a delta, where men are often willing to allow their children, their daughters, to participate in education, for example, or to engage with the wider world, but only if that is parameterized within their pre-existing cultural beliefs. Second, I want to talk about the developed world context of the rest of this debate ahead, why it is harmful to frame female success as mutually exclusive to male success, broadly speaking. Before that, two direct points of rebuttal to the prop bench. Firstly, this is a claim made by both OG and CG. It's about how we change the way that men treat women. So the claim here is that men hold sexist beliefs, but in principle those beliefs are defeasible. We can convince them that those beliefs were false. Three responses to this. Firstly, note the comparative is not a lack of messaging on our side of the house, because we stand for educational campaigns that reach men from the point of birth. They never explain why that method of diffusing those beliefs isn't successful. That means you need to compare these two worlds along three axes. Number one, which is actually likely to be more effective. I think that John is right when he says that lots of men don't want to feel sexist. Do you think they'll not believe it like that they are when a woman tells them you're being sexist? It's not like you get in a defensive way, because note that by hypothesis of the prop bench, the lens to which you read the actions of women is already sexist to begin with. So you're likely to see that as an attack that's motivated by something other than something which comes from a good place. Why is it better on our side? Because education, which is pervasive and operates on even a young age, and is also not exclusively limited to female educators, makes you believe more strongly that this is a widespread social belief that ought to be accepted. Secondly, not only is this more effective, but it is a better message, and here is why. The claim of OG, I think, the quite interesting claim is that we need to rebuild the way men see women from a young age. That's very problematic, because you are socialized first at 0 points out to seeing women as a threat, because they can test lots of positions with you from very, very young. You go into a classroom and the teacher tells all the women in class, you need to fight the men. They are here to take, you need to take what they have, or you need to be willing to take things away from them for your own progress. less harmful for the reasons same gives you. But secondly, this is really, really important. What that means is you only treat women with respect if you think they've earned your respect. John is right that some men are sexist and see docile women as being, like, in some way targets. The problem is on your side, when you see many women being encouraged to not be docile, that means you think, the docile woman she really did want it, right? Obviously because she didn't act in the way that all the other women behaved. So you condition men to see women as needing to earn your respect by being aggressive towards you, and you see other women who can't accept the same degree as being intrinsically docile, and therefore you treat them in ways that are far worse. But thirdly, this is really important, because I do think there's a justice claim here. To the extent that both sides prove efficacy equally, we just don't get any contestation from Prof that our program of education can be successful. That's why we need to litigate the justice claim. We think it's unfair, given the consequences are the same, that you impose a glass ceiling on women and then make it their responsibility to break that ceiling. That is just unfair. It's like double punishment on you. Both as society has committed a crime against you, and now makes it your responsibility and your onus to fight back against that crime. So given that they have no response to the practical alternative on our side, that justice claim ought to be litigated. Second exchange point of rebuttal from CG, women from minority communities. Now they reject white success and fight for themselves. Yes, we think that minority communities are the least able to break that glass ceiling, and that's why we think sales analysis on this front is successful. I'll deal with that in a bit more detail subsequently. Let's talk now about the developing world. What we hear from John in response is, women are obviously screwed either way. Yeah, there are some cases where there is no delta, and there's a large number of cases where there is. Here's just like simple plausibility tests, like motivation. Lots of families in the developing world are willing to send their daughters to school, but not willing to send them to university education overseas. The justification given being that they don't want them being brainwashed by white people, specifically they're women whom they attach a particular value to as carriers of a community and carriers of a culture. I don't want to make any crash generalizations here. It's obviously not true in all contexts. But the nuance that Seong makes it that's ignored by CG is that there's something unique that you attach to your culture. The sense here that there's something that's being lost, that there's some alterity that confronts you in a way that is visible and that's very visceral. Why is that true? A couple of reasons here. Number one, note that the notion of individuality, right, of selfishness, of fighting for your, of fighting for yourself. It's like, this isn't just a question of generalization. It is true that in lots of circles, this is perceived as being an overwhelmingly Western construct. You see that as undermining certain commitments that you have to family, to things that making sure that everyone is well tended to. And that's why this is perceived as an assault on those cultural beliefs. Secondly, you are literally telling women, or at least it will be perceived by misogynistic countries, that you are telling women they must be man-haters, they must forget about their family. I know that's not the specific content of the Gluck case, but note that these communities often already construct basic things like telling men not to assault women as assaults, in some cases, as assaults on, as attacks, or as telling women they need to be man-haters, and the like. So I do think they uniquely attack that cultural attachment that people have to women being being okay to go to school, but within the parameters of a culture that is caring, that is a culture where their value as carriers of a gene line, as carriers of a community is so preserved. But thirdly, why is this the straw that breaks the camel's back? Because John says, but there are lots of other considerations that play into whether or not you send your daughter to school. Here's why. Because traditional roles still assign the woman as primarily being of value in her ability to either be a carer or to continue a particular line. That is true in many patriarchal contexts. It means you think that the man is there to be the breadwinner, to be empowered, to be politically active. The woman is there, her primary role is to nurture, is to make sure that she can continue her line going forward. So you attack what is seen as the core value that women have to many of these communities, and that's why that's the straw which breaks the camel's back. Before I move on to the second point, opening.
Advertisements are mostly done by changing your emotional state, not informing you extensively or on a vacuum cleaner or something. To change the behavior of women, you need to change their emotional state instead of just information campaigns.
But telling men that you are being sexist, stop doing that, presumably it's the same effect, at least at minimum the same effect on your side as women telling men you're being sexist, stop that. We give you reasons why it's more effective as a message. I think that's beating that on the comparative. Okay, I just want to weigh sales analysis in the developed world against opening opposition for a bit here. I think that the key of the opening opposition claim here, the atomization of women, relies very heavily on the Sheryl Sandberg example, right? But if you look carefully, they don't actually give you reasons why, as OJ says, there will also be some residual empathy left over. So that's not the atomization that's problematic. The atomization that's problematic is when men think that their success is zero-sum with the success of women. Lots of policies that are good for women are not zero-sum, right? So policies against that kind of a rape culture equally benefit male victims of sexual violence. But if you paint those two interests as being mutually exclusive, all policies are read through the lens of mutual exclusivity. You think, the only reason you're pursuing policies against rape culture is because you're out to get powerful men, right? You can't stand our success, you're here to deface them. So that's when you construct the atomization happens at the level of the gender groups, not within the gender group, for the reasons that God gives you here. I think also when Kit talks about how you reframe altruistic acts as selfish ones, it really isn't isn't about altruism. It is about whether or not men and women believe they can achieve that success together. This is a debate about mutual exclusivity. These beliefs are mutually exclusive to the deeply held beliefs of many communities that will reject them, and are mutually exclusive to the interests of men that undermines success. Very happy to stand in opposition.